Okay, guys. Well, I have to admit defeat. I have been using Ubuntu on this machine, and it has been beautiful. Actually, this is the 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch variant, um, and I did have a bunch of videos. Well, not really. The video wasn't the primary thing. I needed to do something else, and I just thought I'd record it as I was doing it in case it was useful to other people. Now, I've actually got to, I've got to admit that maybe the MacBook Pro isn't the best hypervisor in the world. Even though, I mean, KVM is, it's pretty good. It is pretty good. To be honest, I don't know if it's the MacBook or I think it's the way the KVM is driving the MacBook, to be honest. The fans spin up a lot, the processor gets really toasty, and that wouldn't bother me except compared to using VMware Fusion in macOS, which I've been doing as well recently, and that is a lot better. So even though some of these are sort of midway through whatever we were doing with them, these are my virtual machines, by the way, these QCOW2 files. I'm going to just trash this and rebuild my environment using a VMware Fusion inside macOS, because actually it works really well. It's really fast. I like to work with it a little bit more than I thought I would. It's not like ESXi or vSphere is the other VMware product that I know relatively well. So we used to run a lot of our Linux servers in the office on the back of or managed by a vSphere instance. It's not like that. It's nowhere near as good as that, but it is still, VMware Fusion is still pretty good, and I quite like working with it. And it is immeasurably better than VirtualBox. I really don't have good things to say about that. So let me just close this down. So what I'm going to do anyway for this short video is just show you how we restore, or at least I hope, how we restore macOS to pride and glory on this machine, instead of, at the moment when I boot up, this boots straight into Ubuntu. macOS is still there. Let's give it a reboot actually. You'll see. Oh yeah, a couple of other things. I mean, I've got to be honest, Ubuntu on this T2 patched version of Ubuntu on this MacBook Pro, this Intel one, is it's really good actually. I didn't think I liked Ubuntu, but this is it's been a pleasant experience. I just want to use macOS a little bit more on this machine. Also, I don't know why, because I work on Windows laptops and I work on a Linux desktop, and I have no problem with my mind switching between different keys and different key combinations and stuff. But when I'm looking at a MacBook and I'm looking at a Mac keyboard, oh my, I just cannot get the key shortcuts. I'm always doing things I don't mean to do when I'm inside Linux, and I could probably remap the keys, but I haven't. So let me just reboot to show you what we have at the moment. So I'll do a power off and turn it on, as that's a little bit more of a real view of what we experience with this machine. I'm still slightly paranoid. I always keep my thing covered. And it's one thing I like about, the camera, sorry. It's one thing I like about a lot of Windows laptops is they have a shutter included. I just don't like it there. Anyway, so it's off. I'm going to turn it back on. It should boot directly into Ubuntu. So we get the little Apple sort of bootloader. This is what we're looking at the moment. Yeah, now we've jumped into Ubuntu. Now the Ubuntu loader is bringing up the OS for me. And that's it. So it's pretty good. It's not bad. There's no work I have to do. Let's return this to being a MacBook with macOS. So again, I will, this time I'll just do a restart. Okay, yeah, restart. And I'm going to hold down the Option key. Oh, no, not yet. I'm going to hold down the Option key. We'll go back into, no, I'm not. I want to go into Command R. So Command R is recovery. I mean, stick, yeah, okay, so we're going into recovery now. So, first of all, let me show you what I did. So you've got, this is security, if you can see that. I think you can see that. I'm using an iPad to record it. I just can't find all my gear. I need to enter a macOS password to get in there. So these are the options. You've got full security, allow boot media. If we want to use things like Apple Wallet, we need to go back to the top option. Okay, so we need to go back up here. We will do that in a moment. We can also do firmware password and such like, but for now, let's just close this because it's not what we need to do straight away. What we need to do is go to disk utility. So this is our Macintosh hard drive. Okay, so I gave my macOS 100 gig and I've used 70 odd gig apparently. Anyway, we go to the top level, the volume, and then we'll go to partitions. Okay, so you can see here, I've got the large part of this partition. This is my Linux partition. Let me just see if I removed that one. And then I can remove that one. So macOS now has the full 500 gig again. We shall apply that. Close that. So macOS should be fine. So we have the 406 gig available. So that 400 gig that I allocated to Linux is now back to the Mac. No problems. So let's check the boot partition or the EFI boot. Ah, yeah, okay, so we've got the EFI boot. Did I not just see that there? Okay, so what we want to do is remove them. So this firmware, these two files, I will leave them there for now, but these are how we, let's see if we can, I think it's quite a lot actually. This is how we capture the wireless card details, like the sort of drivers if you like, or the firmware for making the wireless work. So what we do, we run this, when I wanted to have Linux on here, I run this in macOS. This finds and copies that firmware. It sort of packages it up in here. Then when you go into Linux, you mount the EFI partition, run that shell again, and what that shell does on the other side in the Linux, it extracts that, installs it, and there you go, you've got wireless working. So it's really clever. I'm going to leave that there because I might need it again one day. Okay, let's just check we haven't broken anything. Let's reboot it. We'll do a full shutdown. Yep, looks good to me. Okay, so there we go. That's how we restore a T2 patched Linux installation on an Apple device that has a T2 chip back to macOS. Devices that have this, I have read a little bit more about this. It's basically any Intel-based Apple device from 2018 onwards, I think. So that would be 2018 till about somewhere around about 2021. 2020, the M1, I think it was 2020, the M1, the Apple Silicon stuff started coming out, but it didn't replace their entire product line all at once, so there were still some Intel things running for a little bit of time. So these are the machines that you might want to put Linux on at some point. However, for me, at this point in time, I'm going to stick with macOS. Probably when this gets to end of support by Apple and I can no longer put an OS on here, then to be honest, I'll probably use Open Core Legacy Patcher for a little bit of time, and then I'll just switch over to Linux again and have to train my brain to get used to the key commands and whatnot. But yep, there we are. I think we'll finish there. Didn't want it to be too long. See you on the next one.